Hello and welcome to another one of our virtual classrooms. Welcome to week 7. So this week we are going to complete the accounting cycle and we have several readings from chapter 4. And then as always, please be sure to check out these lecture videos as well because I put these in there to hopefully help you throughout the process. And then we're going to go over our discussion and go over your assignment as well. And then this video will be right here for you. And as always, I will put some information or I will tell you your assignment throughout this video as well. So this week we are reading chapter 4 and it's completing the accounting cycle. And then we will, if time permits in this video, go over the PowerPoint here so you have it. Let me make this a little bit bigger. So, and then if I go back into the modules here, then you have your handout, your summary, and then I highly recommend going over this demonstration PowerPoint because this is what will help you in completing your week 7 assignment. So I highly recommend you do that. So let's open up our week 7 assignment here and let's download this template so that hopefully we can provide some insights for you into how to kind of do this. So let's see if it opens up for us. Just give it a minute to open. Here we go. So basically, let's just make sure. I always provide you some check figures, and so I would take those into consideration. So here you have the unadjusted trial balance of Walton as of December 31st, 2018, and the data below. Then you are going to have unearned revenue still unearned at December 31st is $1,800. So we see unearned revenue here is $6,000. So we're going to make an adjustment to that to reduce that to $1,800. Then you have prepaid rent still in force at December 31st is $2,100. So you see here we have $2,320. So we're going to make that $2,100. And then office supplies used, right? So we have $1,700 of office supplies. So we used $1,500. So that means we're going to have an ending balance here of $200. Then we're going to record depreciation of $390. So that would be depreciation expense will increase by $390 and accumulated depreciation will also increase by $390. Then we have accrued salaries expense at December 31st of $200. So we would have salaries expense of $200 here, and then salaries payable will be $200. So you're going to open the T accounts using the balance and the unadjusted trial balance, and then you're going to complete the worksheet for the year end December 31st, 2018, which is optional. Then you're going to prepare the adjusting entries for these 5 transactions, similarly to what we went over right now. And then, and post to the accounts. Then you're going to have an adjusted trial balance, right? And then you're going to prepare an income statement, which up here I gave you the net income is $18,890. So you want to make sure that you take a look at that. And then you're going to prepare the statement of owner's equity and the classified balance sheet in report form and assume that there are no distributions made by the owner during the year. Then you're going to prepare the closing entries and post it to the accounts. And you're going to prepare a post-closing trial balance and you're going to calculate the current ratio for the company. So you see here for requirements 1, 3, and 6, I put all of the T accounts here for you so you know where they go, and I even left the balance and what adjustments you should make as well. And then for requirement 2, this is optional, but this is what helps you. So I left all of the entries here for you, all of the numbers, right, that coincide. So A, here is the unearned revenue and what you're going to add. And then I left the totals here for you at the bottom. So that way, hopefully, you know exactly how to complete this. And so I told you that your net income was $18,890, and that goes against the balance sheet because that is part of retained earnings. So, and you see all of them equals debits equal credit. So your balance sheet and your income statement. So hopefully those check figures there help you to kind of come up with this solution here. And I love the worksheet because I find it quite useful. I mean, typically I would do this worksheet in Excel. I just provided it here for you, but you can copy and paste this into Excel and add your figures if you like and submit that. So that is the first part of the assignment. for this virtual classroom, if you can make a note when you are submitting this, if you are going to use the template as given here in Word, or if you are going to use the template in Excel. So you would just say, I decided to use the student template all in Word, or I decided to try the worksheet in Excel and to try to submit everything via Excel. So that's the first portion of our assignment, is how are you going to submit your student template? Is it going to be in Word, as you see here in the template I provided, or is it going to be in Excel? It's totally optional and your choice, but typically in industry, we would be doing this in Excel. And then you see here, I give you all of the journal entries, and I just left the descriptions for you so that you can go ahead and do those. And we kind of went over them earlier above, but I will show you actually, because that's where students find it most difficult. So let me show you basically how to do that. Side by side might be helpful. So let's make this a bit smaller. And let's make this a bit smaller. So here you see, you see the actual journal entries, right? So to adjust your unearned revenue, so you see how we have it here. And then so we're going to debit unearned revenue for $4,200, and we're going to credit service revenue showing that we actually earned that revenue. And then we mentioned the rent expense. So let me just go back up here so that you could see it side by side. And so here, rent still in force is $2,100. And see, when we come here, it's $2,320. So we know that we used $220 of the rent. So that's why we did rent expense. And then we credited the prepaid rent for the $220. And then here, office supplies used was $1,500. So that's the amount we're going to use, right? So we have supplies expense of $1,500. And then our office supplies here, which has a $1,700 balance, we are going to reduce it by $1,500. And then depreciation expense is $390. So we're going to debit depreciation expense and credit accumulated depreciation. And then we're going to show again that we accrued salaries of $200. So our salaries expense is going to increase by $200. And our salaries payable is going to increase by $200. So that is your requirement 3 here. And then your trial balance, I left the figures here for you. So you will see that your trial balance, right, you're hopefully going to provide and come out with these figures. And again, this is another portion of the assignment that you can do in Excel, because then you can just sum all of these as you're doing them in Excel and come up with the totals. And then we have our net income. And so you will see here that your net income, you're going to have $23,700 as your revenue. And then you're only going to have $4,810 as your expenses to get to your net income here. And since they told us that there was no additional distributions or contributions, then we know that that's a 0. But I left these figures here for you so that you know exactly what you're doing correctly and incorrectly. And I even left you here the total assets and the total property, plant, and equipment, and the total liabilities. And we always know that our assets equal our liabilities plus our owner's equity. And then hopefully you will come up with a balance sheet similar to this one as well. And then we have our closing accounts, right? And keep in mind that when we're doing closing entries, we book those to income summary. So income summary is like a holding account where we move all of our revenue items. As you see here, we're debiting revenue and we're going to credit our income summary. And then we're going to debit our income summary and credit all of our expense accounts to close them out. So our income statement, it has our temporary accounts, and we close everything out to our retained earnings account. Then we close out the income summary of the $18,890, that's our net income, to our capital account here, Walton Capital. And we do the same with the withdrawals. To close out the withdrawals, we credit it, and then we add it, we debit our Walton Capital. And so then you should have a post-closing trial balance, and I left those figures there for you. And that post-closing trial balance should have no income statement accounts, right? Because the income statement accounts that we posted here are temporary accounts. So with your post-closing trial balance, you only have the accounts on your balance sheet. So you see here all of your cash accounts, right? Your payables is your liability accounts up until, so these three accounts payable, salaries payable, and unearned revenue, those are your three liability accounts, and then you have your equity account. And then for your current ratio, what you're going to do is you're going to take your total current assets and divide it by your total current liabilities. And if we come up to our balance sheet, right, your total current assets divided by your total current liabilities, which I gave you to get you a 3.33 current ratio. And in the current ratio, what we like is that the higher the ratio, the better, right? Because that means we're able to cover our liabilities with our current assets. So that is an example of what you will be going through for your assignment. And so again, as part of this virtual classroom, be sure to let us know, or let me know actually in the comment, or that how you will be submitting this particular problem for your final submission. So that shows that you have looked at this video and that you are either going to submit it using this actual template that I gave you in Word, or if you are going to be brave and try to do it in Excel. And let me just show you how quickly you can convert this into Excel, however you see fit. So I am opening up just a blank workbook here. And then I'm going to go down here, and you can put your T accounts in there, but I'm going to start with this worksheet because I think this is one of my favorite parts of this assignment. So if you just copy it and if you just paste it, hopefully there you go. So then here you have it. And then all you have to do is just make this a bit bigger. And if you click up here, right, and then you double click on these columns, it'll automatically show you. And then you can start playing around here. You see, we can make this a little bit smaller. We can make this a little bit smaller so we can have our journal entries here. And then, but the beauty is if you come down here and you click over here under your sum, you can just highlight all of this and hit enter, and it automatically sums it for you. And then all you have to do here is hit copy this, which is your formula, copy it and copy it here, paste. And now here you see this won't, I'm not going to paste. So yeah, we could paste over this because you see now you have no items here, right? So as we push through this, you'll see, and then all you have to do is come back here to your check figures, and then you'll have that. So you see, you'll have the 6,500 here. So you may want to type that in here, 6510, 6510, and then you can do a check figure here, right? So equals this amount minus this amount, and it'll show you what you're off. And then you can just copy and paste that formula right there. And then here, you know that your check figure is 62,690. So you can do the same thing and just subtract that. And then here, you know that it's going to be equals this plus the 1890. And then here you have the totals, right? But then here you're going to do the same thing, equals this plus your 18,890. And then you'll have your check figures here. So that, and you can actually click right here and call this the worksheet. Like it when I do that. You could call this the worksheet here. Perfect. Yeah, excellent. And then if you wanted to do your journal entries, it's very similar, right? You can click on the new link and then you can copy the entire table right here. And if you just highlight it all, right, and just hit Control C or Command C if you're on a Mac like I am, and then hit paste. And then all you have to do is just extend, for however long you want, and then, the actual column. And then here you just click on it, and then you double click on the actual rows, so you see it comes out a lot smaller. And then you can actually do the same thing. Come up here and click, and then you could just highlight all of these to make sure that you get your correct cell numbers, right? And again, you just copy and paste, and you have your items here. And then as we scroll down, you'll see, and so this is where I think it becomes really helpful. So here we're just going to click and call this adjusting journal entries. Okay, so here, let's see if it'll stop. I don't know why it does this. I really have to figure this out because I don't see it. Let's see. All right, I think It's not, ooh, oh goodness. Oh goodness. All right. It's not letting me do this. Okay, wait a second. I really do have to figure out what goes on when I click that. But anyway, hopefully you'll see here that these are adjusting journal entries. And then if you click here, we could do adjusted trial balance. And here we go again. Jesus, Mary and Joseph. I don't know why it does that. I just don't know. I try. Here. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that, but we'll go with this like this. I don't know why every time I go to do something in Excel, she just doesn't like it and is just all over the place. So let's try this a bit. All right, so back to our adjusted trial balance. And again, if we just highlight the entire thing and hit Command C or Control C if you're on a PC, then you should have your trial balance here. And then if you just add this across, right? And then again, we come up here at the very top and we just double click on a row so we have it. And then if you wanted to make it look very similar, right, you would just elongate this so you would have it all together. And then the same thing, come right up here to this total and then just double click on the row so you see it all together. And then I am going to copy these down here to leave it as your check figures. But then up here, I am going to come up here to our sum and then just highlight the entire thing and hit enter. And that way I have a formula there. So as you're populating this, you'll see, and then you can also do equals this amount minus this amount as your check figure. And then again, just copy and then paste that here and you would have it as your check figure. So that's just another way of doing our adjusted trial balance. And then you can do the same thing here. All right, let's see. We're not going to put income statement on here. We're just going to copy it to see if we can avoid having all of the issues with, I don't know what happens when I click on there. But anyway, we'll put it here, right? And then actually we can put this at the top because we have a nice heading. There we go. So then we're going to elongate this, make it a little bit longer, right? Click up here again, and then just double click so you see that. And then your net income figure, I'm going to add that over here because this one, we're going to make formulas, right? So our service revenue total expenses is going to be a formula, right? And so we're just going to click here, but we're going to go from salary expense all the way down, right, to rent expense to get our total expenses. And then our revenue formula, our net income equals our sales revenue minus our total expenses. And then hopefully that amount will equal your 18,890. So let me see if it'll let me just do this here. All right, so I added income statement and it didn't go totally bonkers, but somewhat. So there you go. So hopefully that helps there. And then we're going to add another sheet and we're going to do the statement of owner's equity. So the same thing, you're going to highlight it, hit copy or Control C or Command C, hit paste or Control V, or you can use these symbols here, copy and paste. And then you're going to make this line a bit longer, right? And then again, we're going to click at the very top and then just double click on the rows to make it. And then we're going to copy this over because here we have equals, right? We're going to do, oops, not there, right here, equals, right? And we're going to have our beginning balance, right? Plus our contributions, which would be here, plus our net income. And then minus our withdrawal, and then you'll have hopefully your total. So again, if you see here, I'm taking the beginning balance, I am adding to it the owner contribution, I am adding the net income for the year, and then I am subtracting the owner's withdrawal to get our ending balance here. So let's just do that here. So then you'll see it, right? So if you click on this link again, and if you click on the formula, it does it so nicely. It color codes it for you so you can see. So that's another way to do that bit. And then hopefully it'll let me type in here, owner's equity maybe. So then I just typed in here, statement of retained earnings. And again, it didn't go totally bonkers. So that's lovely. So that's that bit. And then here we have our balance sheet. So again, we're going to click on the plus here for our balance sheet. And we are going to highlight this entire table. And again, hit Control C or Command C. and Control V or paste, and then you should see that here. And again, we're going to make this a bit longer so that way we can fit it all in. We're going to click up here at the very top and then just double click one of the rows so that you'll get your totals here. And then what I'm going to do is just copy, let's do this, copy this. Let's see, so we're going to copy this and we're going to put it over here and then copy these. Let's do this, copy, and then copy. And we're going to do the same here, copy and paste, and we're going to enter the formulas here. So in this case, we're adding up all of the current assets. And so if you click on the sum, you're going to add up these because this is where you're going to put them all, right? So we're going to add that there. And then we're going to have our total here, right, for our property, plant, and equipment. So that's going to be our equipment less, as it says here, our accumulated depreciation. And so, let's see, what did we do here? Oh, wait. Yeah. So this, let me see, this minus this. So if we put a formula here, let's see, what was our equipment amount here, just to see what's going on. Why is this not doing that? Let's see. So we had equipment of $23,000 and $13.90. So let's see here, if we put in $23,000 and then $13.90. So then we'll just do $13.90. So there, it's kind of showing you the $21.16. So it was just the totals here. And you can also click here and you can click on this little icon up here and you can remove the decimals there. And if you wanted to show this as a negative, you could change your formula here, which is typically how we do it. So let's just show this as a negative, and then let's change our formula here to add them because they're in the right format. And you still get the 21,680 here, the 21,610. And the 51,680, we're going to equals, right? So you're going to take your total current assets plus your total property, plant, and equipment. And then once you complete your current assets, you'll hopefully come up with this check figure of the 5,100. And then the same thing here, right? You're going to take your total current liabilities, and basically we're just going to add these three here and then hit enter. And then here we're going to say plus this guy, so that way we can see it here as well. And then hit enter. And then the working capital basically is just the amount here. So then this amount, we're going to leave that in there because that's a given, right? And we did that. And we could also link it to our statement of retained earnings as well. So that you can link between sheets. So if you hit here plus, and then you click on here, this amount should be your 42,790. And if you hit enter, it'll bring it there when you enter it or when it calculates it. So that's another nice, easy way to link all of your spreadsheets together. And so that way you see how they're talking to one another. And then here, what we're going to do is we're going to hit equals, right? And we're going to take our total liabilities plus our total equity. And that should hopefully give you the 51,890 as well here. So this is going to be your balance sheet. So let's click here. And so there we have our balance sheet, and then we could do another one for your closing entries, similar to what we did here. Oops, sorry, right here, adjusting journal entries. You would have another tab here. Oh, let's move that back here. And so these would be closing journal entries, right? So let's just see. So here you see our closing journal entries, and we can take this part right here, highlight that, copy it, and then paste it wherever you like, really. Here you see it, and then here you can make this a bit longer. And again, we come up here to the very top, click, and then we want to click here, and hopefully we will see how to close out revenues. And we remember we're going to do that. We're going to credit income summary and debit your revenues. We're going to debit the income summary here and credit all of the expenses. And we're going to close out the income summary to the capital, and we are going to close out the withdrawals to the capital as well. So that's your journal entries. And then here you have your post-closing trial balance. So here, perfect. So there we have our post-closing trial balance. And we know it's the post-closing trial balance because we don't see any temporary accounts. So we do not see income accounts, revenue accounts, or expense accounts. We don't see any income statement accounts. So here we're going to add that up here at the very top and paste it. And again, just as we've been doing, we kind of move it over here. We click over here, and then again, we just highlight the rows, and then we have our check figures here, which we're gonna copy to down here. And then right here, we're gonna enter our formula, which is basically we're gonna add all of these amounts up and then just copy that same formula over here. And then hopefully you'll get these. And what you can do is the same check figures, right? Equals this minus this. And if you end up with a 0, you know you did it right. And then if you copy and paste, and obviously we know that in our trial balances, our debits must equal our credits. So we know that as well. And then the last bit you can possibly, let's add it here, call it current ratio. Ooh. Here we go, current ratio. So we added that here, and we know that it is current liability. So here you'd have to find the current ratio formula, which we know, right? So current ratio. All right. Oop, there we go, maybe. Okay, we're back. So we know that the current ratio is our current assets divided by our current liabilities. So let me see if it'll let me type that in here. It keeps pausing on me here. I don't know why it does that. All right, well here, let's just enter and see if it'll, I don't know. Well, I don't know. It doesn't let me, I don't know. It doesn't do that in my version of this, but the one throughout, oh, let me see. Okay, there we go. So we have current assets, and we're gonna hopefully, let's see. I don't know. It keeps doing that. Apologies. I don't know why it doesn't let me do this in Excel, but it doesn't. So I'm trying. Okay, maybe now we get lucky. All right, well, I was able to type current assets and current liabilities in between all of that mess. And what I'm going to do here is just come up here and put a line at the bottom, like a bottom border, to show that, we're going to divide. And then here we're going to add the current assets and the current liabilities. So if you hit plus, we're going to go to the balance sheet, and we're going to take the current assets, which would be here, would be, right? So we're going to hit enter. And then we're going to take the current liability. So we're going to hit plus and go back to the balance sheet here and current liabilities. And when these get populated, then you're going to hit enter. You would have a number here. So we're going to create the formula right here. So one of the ways I like to do it is click this little icon here because it merges them, right? And then we have a formula equals current assets divided by current liabilities. And then we hit enter. And now it's saying divisible by 0, but once we populate the numbers in there, we would see that. So if we come back up here, we know what those numbers are, right? Because we had them in our balance sheet up here somewhere. Here we go. So let me move over here, right? So we know that our current liabilities is 9,100. So let's just go back in here and try to populate that a second so we can see that entering, right? So let me show you this. Right, let's move this guy over here, right? So we know that we're going to have 7,100 here and $200 of salaries payable in the 1,800. So we see the 9,100 here. And then we're going to add our assets here, 13,480, the 14,500, the 2,100, and the 200, and we see our totals here. So now when we come back to the current ratio, we see our 3.33, right, or 3.32. And if we wanted to change that to 2 decimal places, right, we would just click over here and you'd see that. And we know based on over here that that is our correct amount, and you see them here. And so let's also put a little underline here to show that we're dividing. So this is how the magic of Excel happens, right? So then once you have everything kind of all set up, and you can actually link back always to the worksheet as well. So you saw me kind of going hit plus and go to a different workbook, and so here you could hit plus, and and here you'll see your income statement is going to start from your service revenue, right? And so, and if you see here in the service revenue, we do have an adjusting entry. So you're going to make sure that you include those, and then you're going to have formulas to add or subtract them. So I highly recommend getting familiarized with Excel. It is definitely a tool that we use quite often in accounting. I am actually going to save this workbook as problem, let's see, let's do this. File, save as, and let's save it as problem 432A. And oh, here we go again. All right, let's see if it'll, oh, here we go. Well, hopefully it'll let me save it. Yeah, it's, oh, I don't know why it keeps doing this. Okay, I don't know why it keeps like giving me this icon here, but maybe it'll let me save it. And I will actually add it to our classroom. Let me go back in here. Oh, it's not letting me do anything. Oh. All right, I will add it to our classroom as well. I'll add it to our module. I will, okay, let's see if it'll let me save it here. Let's see if it lets me. I don't know why it does that all the bloody time, but okay, so I saved this, and then what I'm gonna do is add it to our modules here, so that way I could see that if you did, you could use this as your, let's go back up here, module 7, and let me see if I can add this file for you and see if it'll let me add it. So I think so. And then hopefully if you decide to use the Excel, then you have it here to use. And you have some of the formulas. So let me add that item, and it's down here. So I'm gonna pop it right here as a student template here. So you should see it right here. So then you have the option, and then all you have to do for this virtual classroom is to either tell me that you're going to use the week 7 assignment for the student template, or if you're going to use the Excel. So I hope you get some practice with that. Thanks for watching.